To the Jim Acosta Show, and it's another day that ends in Y and the affordability crisis in America. Some 40 million Americans may be about to lose food stamp assistance in this country. Add to that the millions of Americans who may be seeing their health care premiums skyrocket in the coming weeks, not to mention the pain farmers are feeling right now. Let's talk about all of this with the hosts of the Grounded podcast, my friends, former Montana Senator Jon Tester and Maritza Georgiou. John and Maritza, great to see both of you. Thanks so much for coming back on.
It is great to see you, Jim. I know that you had coffee with my co-host. At least that's the rumor on the street here a few days back. But
might have been more than just coffee.
We had dinner. Yeah,
we had dinner. I'm not a cheap date here.
Was there alcoholic beverages consumed? That's what I want to know.
Always, no question about it.
If you're in D.C. having dinner, you have to have an alcoholic beverage, right?
Senator, there's
even if you don't have dinner in your D.C., you got to have an alcoholic beverage. So go ahead.
No, there's good reason for a stiff drink, stiff cocktail here and there. It's Monday, so I try not to talk about that too much. But Senator, it's great to see you. And you heard my wind up there at the top. I mean, last week we were talking about, Trump going wild and mowing down the East Wing of the White House unilaterally, and there's a lot of outrage over that and that sort of thing. But I don't want to get derailed from where, a lot of people are at right now, which is there are a lot of people struggling with this government shutdown that is grinding on. SNAP recipients are about to get the shaft here in the coming days. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is saying they're not going to hand out those benefits to people because they want Democrats to come back to the table and hammer out a compromise on the government shutdown. So they're just saying, well, we're just not going to do SNAP for a while. We're seeing the Obamacare premiums that are about to spike because Republicans won't agree to modifying those premiums and continuing those subsidies for people who need those premium subsidies. And, and that doesn't even touch the surface of what's happening with farmers right now. Farmers have been getting the shaft ever since this tariff war began that Trump started with China and so on. And now you've got the cattlemen, the beef farmers up in arms over Trump's plan to not only bail out Argentina to the tune of $20 billion, but start, boosting Argentinian beef imports. And so I wanted to hear how folks are feeling from your neck of the woods out in Montana. What are you hearing right now? Because that's a hell of a witch's brew that I just laid out there.
I was going to say, is that all? I mean,
I was going to say it's Monday.
Holy mackerel! No, I mean, look, I'm gonna start with this weekend when I ran across some folks who work in the FSA office, the Farm Service Agency office. Now, this isn't the food stamps folks. These are the folks that oversee the farm program. They're literally not doing anything. Government shutdown, they're not doing anything. All these programs are on hold. So all, the subsidies that Trump's talking about giving out to the farmers, it sure shit ain't going to happen until after this is done. And if you take a look at the price of soy or corn or wheat, just about, I hate to make blanket statements, but I don't know that there's a commodity out there right now that you make money on except for beef. And then it ain't a bunch, but you can make some money if you're raising beef right now. Unfortunately, when you give $20 billion to Argentina and they undercut your soybean market selling products to your old customer, and then he's going to import Argentinian beef and says it's going to be good for the consumer. Well, number one, I'll believe it when I see it if it's good for the consumer. And number two, I guarantee you it's going to nuke these cattle ranchers around here that are, I don't care if you're feeding cattle or if you've got a cow-calf operation, it'll take you out. So there is a consistency here, Jim. The consistency is it doesn't matter where you're at in agriculture. It appears it's going to suck for the whole thing for quite a while. And by the way, we ain't going to get those markets back when you flip the switch. It ain't going to happen. And if you start bringing in Argentinian beef, it is going to screw that market up for years and years and years to come. So it's what happens, truthfully, when you have a millionaire from New York City who's been backed by his daddy his whole life that thinks he's a businessman and knows agriculture. And here's the problem I have, Jim, because this has been my family's life for 3 generations. We've been on this farm for over 120 years, okay, coming on 120 years. And my neighbors are important to me, and my community is important to me. This is going to devastate rural America. And rural America voted for him en masse to be president of the United States. And because he doesn't understand what's going on the ground, he doesn't understand food security, and he doesn't understand how markets work, this is what you end up with. And people in agriculture, people in rural America need to figure out that this guy who claims he's your friend ain't doing things that a friend would do for you.
Right. Well, and Maritza, I mean, a couple of the data points coming out on Argentinian beef, they're doing that because, the price of beef per pound has gone up to $6.63. That is a record high, according to USA Today. And so they're responding to this by saying, oh, we'll bring in the Argentinian beef. But if you talk to the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, they say, the plan not only creates chaos at a critical time of the year, that Argentina also has a history of foot and mouth disease.
Right. That's
so
what I
that
was
is
gonna bring
brought
up.
into the country. It could decimate the domestic production. And then on top of that, in response to our tariffs, China cut off the soybean purchases. That's what's really hosing a lot of farmers right now. I mean, and then Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, did you guys hear this over the weekend? He's on one of the Sunday talk shows, and he says, he goes, I understand what they're going through. I feel their pain because I'm actually a soybean farmer. But actually, that's not true. He owns millions and millions of dollars worth of farming land that he leases out to people who grow those crops. But he is not a farmer. But this is how out of touch they are.
I have a good friend who jokes that she's a farmer because she leases land, and I always say, "You're not. You're not." But the whole thing is, you're absolutely right about the disease. And the thing is, it's not that this is an unknown thing. The Trump administration is saying, yeah, this beef might be diseased, but we're going to do it anyway. I think the thing that, Senator Tester laid out so well, and he wrote an op-ed a few weeks ago that really kind of articulately described how layered this is, because it's not just one issue. It's issue on top of issue on top of issue. And then you talk about, like the tariffs, for all of the materials that farmers use to actually grow the food, equipment, all of that. And then, this whole thing with SNAP benefits running out. I mean, I just pulled it up because I was shocked when I actually clicked on the link for the USDA website, the language that they're using, just putting all the blame on Senate Democrats and saying that they're the ones that are doing this to hold out for healthcare for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures. I mean, that's what is on the government website. And it has been every fact check I've seen on this is the Democrats' demands. They're not about healthcare for undocumented immigrants. It's about it's about reversing these cuts. So let's talk about the cuts. I mean, so the USDA has this contingency fund specifically for this purpose,
for emergency,
if we're shut down for more than a month, to keep providing SNAP benefits. What is that going to do to rural America? What is that going to do to farmers? Because without that, it's 42 million people who rely on these SNAP benefits. And Forbes had an article out estimating it's about $8 billion a month spent on groceries through SNAP benefits. So all of a sudden you pull that out of the market, you pull that money out, not being spent on groceries. What's it going to do to the rest of us? You might be listening to this thinking, well, that stinks. I'm not on SNAP though. It's going to affect you just like Medicaid. The Medicaid cuts will affect your health.
Right. The supermarkets have to make up for the loss in business, and they'll raise prices potentially. I mean, that's one of the possible consequences of this, Senator. You want to
well, I mean, the other thing I'll say is that SNAP benefits are there to help people who are hungry get food. And if they can't get food, you want to talk about a loss of hope. I mean, what are you going to do? How are you going to feed your kids? How are you going to feed your family? I mean, it's not, you know what drives me crazy about this moment in time, and it's not just all Trump. It's all about politics all the time. It's all about who can score the political points. Doggone it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My
phone rang the other day too. It's all right.
I know, it's a landline. The
farm's always open. That's what
I know. The farm is always open, 24/7, baby.
That's right. It doesn't close.
But everything's about politics. President Trump gets on TV and goes, "We're cutting the Democratic programs during this shutdown." Right. I got news for him. the programs that are in there are put in there in a bipartisan way, and they're not, Democrats aren't the only ones that get screwed with these. It's everybody. Right. It's Americans that are getting taken to the cleaners. And it's the same thing with the tariffs. It's the same thing with pushing away our allies. It's the same thing with what they're doing with SNAP benefits. It's the same thing with Signalgate. It's the same thing with tearing down the East Wing of the White House. The people who are getting taken to the cleaners aren't Democrats or Republicans. It's everybody.
All of us.
So,
that's right.
What the hell? Let's start working for America again back in Washington, D.C. I mean, it's been a while since the government's actually worked for middle class and small businesses, but why don't we try that for a start?
Well, I mean, you mentioned the ballroom. All these fancy fat cats and big companies, they're going to get a piece of this new golden ballroom that Trump wants to build and name after himself over at the White House, while people can't get their SNAP benefits, while healthcare is going up, while farms are facing foreclosure. And then this guy, I don't know if you guys heard of this guy, Mike Davis. He's like one of the far-right extremists in the MAGA movement. He popped off on Twitter the other day about, this story that was in the Hill that was on the 40 million people who are going to be going without SNAP benefits here in the coming days. And he tweeted this. He said, "We should only help people who can't help themselves. It's outrageous. 40 million people get food stamps." This is what he says. "Get off your fat ghetto asses. Get a job. Stop reproducing. Change your shitty culture. Stop giving food stamps to immigrants. We don't want you here if you won't work." I mean, the callousness, the racism, the hatred that is just coming out of that disgusting, vile tweet. And it's not even in line with reality. I mean, I was just looking this up. 37% of SNAP recipients are white, 26% African American, 16% Hispanic, Asian 3%. But most of the people who receive these benefits are children and elderly people and folks with a disability. It's outrageous the way he is just, talking about our fellow Americans.
Jim, is that if you don't want people here who aren't going to work, well, then why is ICE going to farms and places of business where people are working and arresting undocumented immigrants? Why are they doing that if they're actually going to their job sites, if it's about working? And also stop reproducing. I just got to say, well, how about better access to birth control? How about better access to reproductive services? Because
they've just devastated reproductive health care in this country. Right. That's what they wanted. Yeah. Senator, what do you make of that? I mean, this goes back to what you were just saying a few moments ago. It's all about politics and scoring points and nastiness and cruelty. What happened to helping each other out?
That's right. That's what's made this country the greatest country on earth. And when people quit looking out for their neighbors and quit looking at people not from what, I mean, I got to tell you, that tweet the dude put out, I wished he'd get the hell out of his circle. I wished he'd get out and see how people are struggling and try and make a living. You're telling me the person that's got to work 2 to 3 jobs to feed their damn family is lazy? I'll tell you who's lazy. It's the people who, God damn it, got their money from their granddaddy and been living on their granddaddy's paycheck forever. That's bullshit. I mean, I got to tell you, if there's one thing that just drives me crazy, it's these self-righteous bastards that think they're working for a living when they ain't.
That's right. You're absolutely right about that. No question about it. And I think what Mike Davis does for a job is he is online. I mean, I think that's primarily what he does. And
I mean, go to a food pantry and see who's in there. These are not people that are on the take. These are people who are trying to survive. And
trying to help their kids survive.
Go to a soup kitchen and see the people that show up. These are not people that are slackers. These are people that are just trying to make it happen for themselves. Yeah. They're trying to make things work.
Well, and
people are struggling. People are struggling right now, Marisa. I mean, costs are going up.
I am on several, social media groups where I live in Missoula, and the amount of people asking for help. I'm in like a Missoula moms group. The amount of people asking for help, saying, my SNAP benefits are going to run out and I need to decide what I'm going to spend my money on and I need help. And is there anybody who can help? I mean, there's so many people. Sharon McMahon just did a whole big drive on Instagram over the weekend, basically trying to raise money for food pantries across the country right now. This is going to be a huge crisis. And let me just say, candidly, I was raised by a single mom. She worked multiple jobs to get us through and get us by. And there were several points when she was on what were known as food stamps at the time, and she was mortified by it. She didn't want to be on food stamps. She felt embarrassed by it, but it's what she had to do. And the second she was able to get off of them, she did. And so, yes, are there people who maybe cheat the system? Maybe. But the majority of people do not want to be on SNAP.
Yeah. Senator, people are just trying to tread water these days. They're just trying to keep their head above the water. It seems to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the end goal is here for this stuff, but Maritza talked about it a little bit. You take the farm economy, that there's going to be a lot of people go broke unless there's a big bailout from the federal taxpayer in this country, and that's no way to run a business. I mean, truthfully, it's not. You take a look at these small hospitals across the country. I mean, with this so-called big beautiful bill that passed, it's going to take them out. I mean, it's part of their Project 2025, and I don't get what the end game is. If the end game is that democracy isn't any good and we need a dictatorship in this country, count me out.
That's right.
I don't want that kind of a country. I want a country where if you work hard, you can get ahead, and you don't have to be on food stamps your whole damn life. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
So I don't know what the end game is for these guys, but they're not doing things that's going to keep America great, which should have been their campaign statement. They're doing things that are taking this country down from a foreign affairs standpoint, pushing away all your allies, pushing away all the people who have been there since World War II, helping you. No matter what stupid conflict we got into, they were there. They had our backs. We had their backs. Now that's gone. Okay?
And Senator, I don't know if you heard this, but Trump was talking again about a third term in office. John and Maritza, let's listen to that, and then we'll weigh in. Let's listen to this.
Yeah, for 2028, they're very good people.
Well, we have great people. Well, I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here. We have JD, obviously, the vice president is great. The Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. If you read it, am I not ruling it out? You'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test. Have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed.
I mean, you can hear Trump talking about the third term like it's
really
no big deal. Oh yeah, maybe I'll do it, and so on. And then Senator, he's also, I mean, just have you ever heard a president sound so goddamn racist on Air Force One, talking to reporters, talking about Jasmine Crockett and AOC that way? He just sounds like a goddamn racist there.
Well, and here's the thing, and it happens all the time during the hearings where the hard questions are go to the women, and that same thing. A couple of women. I mean, look, I don't understand a lot of this stuff. I mean, I've never ever looked at people and said, that person's stupid, because that's not the way you look at people. Low IQ, my ass. That's not how you look at people. Everybody has got skills, and I just don't understand what's appealing about that to people.
I don't either. I don't.
I think you've said that about me, Tester. Just kidding.
Well, about the low IQ stuff or not being appealing to people, which is it?
Well, take your pick.
No, but Senator, I guess one question I have is, when you talk to the farmers, because I mean, it's clear they're getting the shaft these days. Do any of them say, maybe I don't wear the red hat so much anymore. Maybe I'm having second thoughts here. Or is it really not penetrating? Are people really just willing to suffer and just take it for this guy? Or are things starting to change?
I think some of them are, and I think some of them are starting to change. Jim, as you well know, I'm probably the last person that somebody who voted for Trump's going to come up to and say, I screwed up.
Probably.
But the bottom line is that the economy in rural America hasn't really gotten bad yet. But as the markets go away and as things get tougher with the bankers, I think we're looking at another repeat of the 1980s or maybe even worse. And where we saw neighbor after neighbor, because of high interest rates mainly, and bad markets, consolidated markets, go away. Now you put on top of that, the trade stuff, and we raise more food in this country than we can eat. So we need to be able to export. And if we don't have those export markets, man, it's just going to drive the price of grains and commodities, food in the tank. And that's not good. It's not good for the country. It's not good for food security. When you have people going broke and land ending up in the hands of a few, that's not good for the country. And so, look, I think things are far tougher than people want to admit. But the truth is that if you look at what it costs for the inputs now, because they've gone up, and where you're getting for the product at the farm gate that you're trying to sell, those books don't balance. And so you're going to be entirely dependent upon the federal government, the American taxpayer, to make your business operate. And that is not sustainable. And it's also called socialism.
Yeah. Right. The stuff that you hear Trump talking about from time to time about Montana and so on. But Maritza, you're also in Montana. You're also in the Midwest quite a bit. And what are you hearing from folks? Are you hearing some like maybe having some second thoughts here? Or, I mean, I did see that was it Senator Daines from Montana? He has been squawking a little bit about the farmers and.
Well, I know that Representative Troy Downing, he was one of, I think, 8 who signed on, who voiced concerns about the Argentinian beef, of course. I mean, those are his constituents that he's Go ahead. So, I know you have something to say.
One thing, there's and you two probably know, there's what, 218 or 19 Republicans in Congress? Is there? Is about that?
That's about right. That's about right.
And eight of them? 8 of them is who spoke up, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Really, guys. I mean, these are folks who are supposed to be from rural America and
pretty chicken shit.
America, and 8 of them, and that's a big deal. By the way, Maritza, you're right. 8 of them. That's more than has stood up on any of the other issues. So
that's true.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I think it's a great point, Senator. I mean, that's the thing is that how many stood up about the East Wing?
Yeah.
I didn't see one. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see one. So I think it's a.
Wall Street Journal said, "Oh yeah, go ahead." And now the Washington Post, which is kind of MAGA.
I saw that.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah.
I think it's slow. There's something about messaging here too, right? And so, the White House is very effective at reaching their base and spinning the messaging to benefit them. And not only is it just in press conferences now or press briefings, but my gosh, we look at all of the government websites, .gov websites,
pumping out this stuff.
Just pumping it out and pumping out misinformation. So correct. I think that is not helping anything. People are confused. People are tuning it out. People are saying, I have so much fatigue. I don't want to watch the news. Whatever. They're all crooks. They're all whatever. So I hear a lot more of that than buyer's remorse. But I think that, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I agree with them, by the way. You know what I'm looking forward to on TV tonight? I'm looking forward to watching LA play Toronto in the World Series. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
It's not turning on the nightly news and figuring out what the hell's going on in the world.
And that's why Jim and
I watch out for those Canadians though in the World Series. Trump might not like that.
Well, I'm kind of rooting for Toronto too because they're
piss them off.
What the hell,
But yeah, I mean, it's why our industry, Jim, is what it is right now. People are exhausted. They're tired. They don't, and it's why like on these shows that we have, on Grounded, we really try to break things down in simple ways, have a little bit of fun where we can, and not get just too catastrophic, because it is so much, and you start to think about it in the future. And I'm terrified for these families and my community and across the country who suddenly don't have access to SNAP benefits next week. It's going to be really, really, really awful. And I hope that like I plan to step up in my charitable giving, and I hope everybody else does too, because like we can't just let people suffer.
No, that's right. That's right. Well, guys, great to do this again. Let's, I sort of feel like we're gonna have to do this on a regular basis, because I feel like slowly but surely you are going to start to see cracks in that MAGA base. You are going to start to hear some hollering from the heartland. And I think it's just beginning. And Senator, I think you might be right that they may not feel it just yet, but something tells me it is on the horizon, and that is not that far off on the horizon. But really appreciate it. The Grounded podcast, always great to talk to both of you. Thank you so much.
Can I just say one thing, Jim?
Yeah, please.
When you and Marisa go out and have dinner and drink, she's a lot better on the podcast than she is.
You gotta, it's just loosens things up a little bit. It always helps. It always helps.
You're so lucky, guys. Right, I could say so much right now about you, sir. All right.
Oh boy.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Good to see you both. Thanks so much. The Grounded podcast. Great. It's a great podcast, guys. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.